Yo, 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 my dope people. What is good, man? Hope all is well. Sending y'all mad positive energy. You already know. Before I even get into this really impromptu video, I didn't really plan on it. Something just told me to record. Actually, we already know it's not something. It is definitely my guides, you know what I'm saying? My angels and my ancestors. But with that being said, take a deep breath and become present because you already know it's a gift. You already know, man. Welcome to the present time in between. Well, welcome to the present. You know, we're in between time and space. You feel me? With that being said, this message is about emotional intelligence, strictly emotional intelligence. I'm gonna try my best not to deviate from this video. Sometimes I really can't help it. You know what I'm saying? I just like kind of shooting from the hip. But with that being said, emotional intelligence. Let's start. And this is not by the book stuff. I'm talking about emotional intelligence and really any topic that I speak about. I am speaking from my own personal experience with the topic at hand. And I may include some book stuff, information and real science that proves these things. But, a lot of these are based off of my personal experiences, man, because I feel like not only just online platforms, but when we're talking within these online platforms, that a lot of channels, and this isn't directed towards anyone specifically or anything along those lines. This is just, again, based off of what I see. It really lacks a lot of personal experience, man. A lot of people are giving advice on things that they do not have personal experience with, and that personal experience, it gives you that green light to speak about it, man, because when you experience things, there is emotion attached to those experiences. And I feel like that's just the most important piece, if I'm being completely honest. But with that being said, emotional intelligence, what is my personal definition, or what is my interpretation of emotional intelligence? First and foremost, let's dig down into the word emotion, right? What is emotion? Emotion is just energy and motion. This is why it's called emotion. It's almost two different words. And I'll never forget my teacher in high school. Forgot her name. She was my English teacher. I want to say her name was like Miss McKay or something, like Miss McKay or something along those lines. And I used to, when you spell the word a lot, at the time I was spelling it as in one word, ALOT. But I remember her correcting me like multiple times, like, look, a lot is two different words. It's A space LOT. And so you have to look at energy, or you have to look at emotion in that way. You take the E, you put a space in between it, and you put motion. And what is it? It's energy and motion. And the reason I think that this is important to view it this way is you take back control of that energy. A lot of people, when you view emotion with one word, it feels like you can't, I don't want to say you can't control it, but it feels more difficult to control that energy. But when you understand it's truly just an energy, and you have more stronger energy in certain areas, based off of certain experiences, it's because those experiences really resonate with you. You know what I'm saying? And it resonates with you on a very personal level. So of course you're going to have strong energies, correlated with different experiences. So I just think that it's important to really get that out the way off rip, and knowing that emotion is just energy. And I don't want to say, I'm not saying just energy as in I'm downplaying it, but my intent is for you to understand that you can take back control of said energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's really just, again, it's energy in motion. So when you feel very, resonant with something, that emotion is going to be very intense. And it's based off of childhood wounds, and it's based off of traumas and things along those lines. So what is my definition of emotional intelligence? It is knowing yourself and really knowing not necessarily what to respond to, but how to respond to something that really resonates with you at a high energetic perspective. And I'm not even sure if that's really a good definition per se, but that is what it is to me. Because there's certain things that you're going to respond to, more quicker than others. And when you really have to ask yourself, why do you respond quicker to this than this? Why does your body react and tense up in regards to this circumstance or experience compared to this experience, right? And it's probably because it resonates with you on such a deep level, so we can even use that as a segue to, that's confirmation. We can even use that as a segue to get to shadow work. But before I get there, do I want to go straight to shadow work? They're saying yes. All right, shadow work, because it ties very closely into emotional intelligence. I'm going to give you the practical way to address shadow work. What does it feel like? How do you know you're doing shadow work? First and foremost, let me explain this. Do I want to explain that? Not yet, because I can go off. I'll probably end up on a whole different conversation, so I'm not even going to talk about that part. But, okay, what is shadow work? Shadow work is you healing your inner child. It's healing your traumas that trigger you at such a deep level. It's almost like you lose control of that energy when it's moving through you. That's basically what shadow work is, and that's how that shadow feels. Now, how do you practically address shadow work? Because that's really what, let's be honest, that's really why that's the question people want to ask is, okay, we're understanding what shadow work is, but how do you use application in regards to healing your traumas? How do you do that? And I'm going to tell you how it feels, and I'm going to tell you again how to practically go about this. Number one, how does it feel when you get triggered? I don't know if everyone else is like this, but when I get triggered, I feel it in my gut, for sure. And it's not something that hurts my feelings or anything along those lines. Don't get me wrong, there are certain things that could hurt my feelings. Anything in regards to my daughter definitely hurts my feelings. I mean, I'm not going to be ashamed to say that. You know what I'm saying? That's my daughter. My daughter, listen, man, like when it comes to my daughter, I have literally, listen, man, there's people who haven't been there, and I'm not comparing myself to people, but there's people who have been there, have been in the same city and haven't been there for their child. Like, I flew back from fucking Kuwait to make sure I was back home for my daughter's birth. Not to mention, I helped cut her umbilical cord. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like, I wanted to make a point to make sure that I was here from the millisecond she entered this world. She had to know who her father was, who her dad was, and she's never ever going to be alone from that perspective. Simple as that. And I'll leave it there. Right? But when it comes to being triggered, I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my stomach, and it's because I don't know what it is, but something wants me to react. That's why I feel it at the energetic level. It wants me to react. But, or should I say, however, the practical way to heal that trigger on wherever this resonates in your body. Again, I don't know if it resonates in everyone's stomach. It could be your arm, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But feel that trigger, but don't react to it. Because I think people believe just because they feel something, they're meant to use that energy and react in the physical reality. And that's not really what it is. You're healing those triggers when you feel that trigger. I mean, physically feel that trigger, right? But you don't react to it. The response to that trigger is not reacting at all. You're aware, right? Awareness is a true key, right? You are aware of feeling that feeling. You are aware that something triggered you, but you can still hold that conversation without responding, emotionally, again, which goes into emotional intelligence. This is why we get into shadow work. But you get to a point, like, you're going to be triggered a lot. Once you acknowledge this part in regards to understanding what it is, what it feels like, once you start to truly recognize it, that's when the shadow work truly starts. Because there are going to be people, whether they're conscious of it or not, there's going to be people that trigger you left and right. They're going to trigger you, I promise. And you know why? Like the people who intentionally do it, or I'll say most, right, from my experience, the people who intentionally do it, they genuinely want you to react because they're trying to steal your energy. But since you know that, now you have to understand it gives you even more reason why you should not react, right? Now, the way to do it is when you feel that trigger, at that point, it's like a light switch. To me, I look at it as a light switch that gives my body the permission to take any type of energy they send to me, which is it's through words, it's through action, it's through, again, just energy. They don't even need to be saying nothing. You can tell through context in their body language. It gives me the permission to whatever energy they're sending my way. I take that energy, and it's uncomfortable at first, but once I, get back to my kind of home state, and I meditate and things along those lines, now I harness that energy and I transmute it into something completely different. I transmute it into something more positive and I use it for me. So that is how you practically, or I'll say that's how triggers feel. When someone says something, again, it don't really need to hurt your feelings, but when it just triggers you, you know what I'm saying? You feel it because your natural human reaction is to react or respond in some freaking violent way. Like you really want to take this motherfucker head off. You want to beat their ass or something along those lines. You feel me? That is how you know you're triggered. But don't react to it. The response should be to be aware and acknowledge that feeling. Don't suppress it, right? But internally, you can acknowledge that feeling. Like, hey, I'm aware of this trigger. I am aware that I'm feeling this way. But don't react because that other person wants you to react. So when you react, now you're sending them negative energy, and then they want to take that energy from you and create something. But the thing is, they're not even going to create something proactive out of it. They're going to use it for stupid shit. All right? So don't react to it. The response should be being aware, acknowledging that trigger, and also journal about it later on how you feel. And you can always revert back to that journal, read about it, and see how far you've come. Trust me on this. I did a lot of this shadow work last year, and it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And that is what it is. And shadow work is basically when you're doing this, like, that is the shadow work. The shadow work is you utilizing this type of application and being aware of your triggers and not reacting to it. That is literally the practical application of shadow work. And there's a lot of traumas we have, especially if you're a millennial and above. Now, I'm not saying everyone has shadow work to do. Everyone has traumas and certain different types of traumas and things along those lines. But I'm telling you, millennials, we all got some shadow work to do. I'm telling y'all that right now. Millennials are the bridge. We are the people in between generations. We're the only generation who is alive to play outside. I mean, think about it. Millennials we are in our prime, right? We were born during a time where we got to play outside before the internet, when we really had to cultivate different friendships and relationships. We was playing it tag, hide and go seek, hide and go get it, and all of that stuff. You feel me? We were doing all of that stuff. You feel me? Going outside, had to be outside before the night, had to be back in the house before the night lights come on. Neighbors knew each other. Think about when you were born and when you came up. And then we're alive for the internet era. Real technology. Technology is changing a lot of things. So yeah, there's a lot of shadow work because we're the bridge between generations. We're the bridge between the youth and the older. That's why it feels uncomfortable sometimes to be around a lot of young people. Because that's been me. I'm going to be honest. Like vulnerability, like I've been around a lot of young people, but I know that that's part of my purpose, because I am meant to bring an amount of wisdom, and wisdom can only be gained through experience. And with experience comes what? Emotion. So when I be speaking about things, it's coming from the heart. It's coming from, real life circumstances and situations that I've been in. And I can't fake this type of shit. I really can't. So I'm around all types of people, young, older, just et cetera, et cetera. So without going too long into this video, man, or making this video too long or lengthy, that is how you practically apply yourself to addressing shadow work and healing that inner child, which is your higher self. That is your higher self. It's your higher self because at a younger age, your higher self is more conscious of you, more conscious than you are at this very moment. So, and your inner child is what you want. Your inner child is the experiences you desire to have, but you can't have them unless you heal your inner child, unless you heal those wounds. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take hard work, but not from a physical perspective. This has to be understood. It takes hard work from an emotional perspective. It takes hard work from a psychological perspective. This is why I say control your thoughts. This is why I say learn how to control your thoughts and learn how to control your emotions so you're just not running around reacting to anything. Because one of the greatest things anyone can have, but one of the greatest things a man can have, and I do mean men specifically in this situation, is learning and understanding emotional intelligence and how to heal and how to not respond emotionally. I am telling you, if you understand this and you do this, you are going to see things manifest in front of you that you cannot believe was even possible. All right, I am telling you this from someone who has had experiences. Trust me on this. I'm not these other dudes out here who just be talking on the internet without any experiences or really won't back up what the fuck I am about. Because I back up anything. I promise you. You know what I'm saying? So heal your inner child wounds. You know what I'm saying? Be aware of the emotions you are feeling, but you don't have to react to them. A response to that is not reacting. You don't even have to do anything. Be aware of the feelings. Don't react or respond. Don't react to it, and meditate. And I'm telling you, what the type of things you can accomplish in this lifetime for you is literally pretty much infinite. I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty much infinite. So with that being said, man, again, I don't want to make this too long. I just wanted to share that because I'm going through my different challenges and things along those lines. It was 1:44 on the clock as I say that, and I just want to share it because it's not. I don't want to hold in all information that I learned. I don't want to do that because it's not going to help anyone. And I've made this very clear that I literally, impact is important to me. Contribution is important to me. Community is important to me. And that's how I make an impact. That's how I make contribution, is through cultivating communities. You know what I'm saying? And that's ultimately what I want to do. On a philanthropy, humanitarian level. And that's just the start. But with that being said, man, again, I don't want to make this too long. I hope all is well, man. For everyone watching this video, sending you all positive energy. It is Monday, aka Moon Day. And we have a full moon coming up on the 21st. You might be feeling some heightened emotions. And when I mean heightened emotions, it depends on what emotion you are in, and whatever that emotion is, you will probably feel heightened for the next week and some change, okay? Off and on. All right. With that being said, drink your water. Health is wealth. Sending y'all positive energy. With that being said, let's take one more deep breath before we get out of here so we can become present. You already know, man. It's all love, and we out.